when it's delicate to 6. Low battery, shut down. Now the network sleep. Bringing humanity to another link. Gradually we pray not to adjust them.
Thank you, Aziza, for welcoming us. And short, distinguished ladies and visionaries, welcome to Design Week Freetown, where innovation meets identity, who we are, what we can imagine, and the incredible things we can build, where design influences everything from the way we live to the Freetown is stepping forward.
Day 3, we have amazing workshops to do with design. So if you are a young person looking to learn how to hone your craft, Day 3 is for you. And then we have our food tasting exploration, which a lot of people have been very much interested in. And so we're looking forward to that. And then we will close with a bang. We are on Saturday, which is Day 4, we have our design competitions. We're looking to have our very first design hackathons. So it's going to be full of creativity, innovation, just rethinking things like how do you capture our national identity in things like, let's say, a font, or in a flyer, or in a video. How do you sell Sierra Leone to the world? And then finally, we will have, in the evening of Day 4, we will have our sound exploration. The theme is where tech meets heritage, and heritage is talking about our culture, our traditions, within unique and authentic to Salone. And in the 5 pillars that we have for Design Week, it is food, fashion, architecture, visual arts, and digital innovation. That's audio-visual art. So in there, our sound matters. The way how our Bubu sounds is very authentic and unique to us. And we're going to explore things like that. All throughout the week, this is something I'm personally looking forward to. We'll be having a storytelling corner. And we want you, as young people, or as a guest, or as a creative, as an entrepreneur, as a stakeholder, we want you to tell us your authentic Salone story. What is unique to you? Even if you weren't born here, even if you didn't grow up here, but if you live here, if you've interacted with Sierra Leone for as little as 2 minutes or as much as a lifetime, I'm pretty sure you have something to say about the country, and you have something to say about its people, and that is what we want to hear. So, again, I welcome all of you to Design Week Freetown 2025. It's an honor to have all of you here, and please enjoy the experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. I'm particularly looking forward to the food tasting experience on Day 3. Right, Day 3, we have food tasting experience. So I'm a fan of cassava leaf and oil, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm sure other people are looking forward to something. Let me talk to you, Hamid. Hamid, so why are you here? Why are you at Design Week Freetown?
Good afternoon. I am Abdul Hamid Kanu. I'm a photographer, and recently I got the title of founding editor of Muyu Journal. Well, I'm here today just to connect with people and learn about where we are heading with design. Like my good brother Joe mentioned, we have an identity. Sierra Leone has an identity, and we need to know the people that are shaping this identity, that are designing it, and that is what I've been doing with Muyu Journal, but more on that tomorrow. So please don't miss my session. It's happening tomorrow here, but also let's all have a good time. Let's all have a good week. Thank you.
Thank you. I like the fact that you mentioned you're here to connect. So I'm sure we'll connect. I have my younger sister here, Victoria. So tell me, why are you here? Why are you at Design Week Freetown 2025?
Hello everyone, my name is Victoria Mambu. I'm an entrepreneur, the founder of Nyande Natural Black Soap. So I'm here to network with lots of creative minds and also to promote the Sierra Leonean culture, definitely. So I'm happy to meet you all.
Thank you. You're here to, it's Alex who get Boku people, then we come for connect. I see people in root and bush, on brush, root and brush. So who wants to talk to me? Or on all the points? All right. So tell me, what is this? What is root and brush? Tell me about what you're wearing.
So, Root and Brush is an app that is here to showcase Sierra Leonean talent, especially art. So what we've noticed is that Sierra Leone has so much talent in terms of visual arts, digital art, but we're limited. We cannot showcase out there. So Roots Brush has pinpointed that issue and we want to solve them, but hopefully you'll get to know more about that throughout the week.
Thank you. So I think we have a lot of creative, we have a lot of young people here, and we're all looking forward to your sessions and how you sell your ideas to our colleagues. So I want to thank our sponsors, Christex Foundation, Feli, I think that's how it's pronounced, Pamende, Fele, like na two, you mean two, is it right? Fele, Ta Fele, Sawanani. Okay, that's not the Fele, eh? Oh, okay. So we want to thank the Ministry of Information and Communication. We also want to thank the Ministry of Tourism, and we also want to thank Capital Foods, and they are one of our sponsors. I would like to invite the Business Development Manager at Capital Foods to make a statement. She's Tate Ba, I hope I pronounced that right. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the Business Development Manager for Capital Foods, Tate Ba, to make a statement.
Thank you. Oh, you're filming. Hello everyone, good afternoon to you all. My name is Tati Ba, I'm the Business Development Manager at Capital. I am very excited and happy to be here. So we are here obviously, one, to sponsor the event. Two, we want to witness the event. We want to learn more about art. We think that there's much more to do in Sierra Leone in the art space, and there's much more for us to learn as well as a company and also as a people. So we are very delighted to be here. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm not telling her for clap and when I do. I'm very nice. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Tate. Thank you so much for sponsoring this wonderful event, and also thank you. We're looking forward to knowing about your organization and how other young people can tap into your resources and see how we can benefit from it. Another sponsor is the Ministry of Tourism. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the Assistant Director of Travels and Exchange Program, Mr. Robert Lee, to make a statement. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Robert Lee from the Ministry of Tourism.
Thank you, Mr. MC. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first of all say it is an honor to be here to represent the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, by extension the Minister, who asked me to tender apologies as she is unavoidably absent. But my presence here would indicate that she has this program at heart and she's fully committed to wherever culture, heritage, and tourism are being displayed. because we are part of this process. And I'm here to make a statement on her behalf, which she gave me, and I will read as instructed by my boss. Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, creative visionaries, and friends. It is with great pride and boundless enthusiasm that we gather here today to embark on a transformative journey, a journey that celebrates the power of design to reshape our culture, enrich our communities, and propel Sierra Leone onto a global stage. Today marks not only the launch of the Design Academy, but also the beginning of a vibrant chapter in Design Week Freetown 2025, where tradition and modernity coalesce to forge a future built on creativity, innovation, and shared cultural identity. Our nation has long been a wellspring of artistic heritage and ingenuity. By establishing the Design Academy, we are reaffirming our deep commitment to harnessing these qualities and transforming them into tools for societal progress and economic empowerment. This academy is more than just a place of learning. It is a crucible where raw talent meets world-class mentorship and innovative thought. Here, aspiring designers from every corner of our great nation will have the opportunity to explore their creative potential, gain the skills needed for tomorrow's challenges, and contribute to a legacy that honors our past while boldly stepping into the future. The intersection between design, culture, and tourism is one that holds immeasurable promise. Good design is the language that speaks to our collective identity and values. It is the lens through which we view our heritage, the expression of our aspirations, and the bridge that connects us to the world. Through initiatives like the Design Academy, we are nurturing a generation of thinkers and makers who will not only elevate our local industry but also position Sierra Leone as a beacon of creativity and entrepreneurial spirit internationally. Our vision is to create an ecosystem where innovation blossoms and every creative endeavor enriches our society, fueling growth in tourism, cultural exchanges, and beyond. This academy stands as a testament of our unwavering belief in the transformative power of culture. It is an open invitation to our youth, to our educators, and to our industry leaders to come together in a spirit of collaboration and mutual support. We are committed to providing a space where ideas can be nurtured, where passionate discourse is encouraged, and where every aspiring designer can find the tools they need to transform dreams into reality. The Academy will offer cutting-edge training, collaborative projects with renowned experts, and platforms that connect local talent with global opportunities, ensuring that creativity is both celebrated and given purpose. In launching today's program, we are acknowledging the tireless efforts of all who have worked to make this dream a reality. I extend my deepest gratitude to our partners, educators, and stakeholders who have dedicated their time, energy, and expertise to ensure that the Design Academy becomes a beacon of innovation and hope. Let this initiative be a symbol of our collective commitment to fostering a creative environment that enriches our cultural heritage and drives economic progress. As we stand at this exciting crossroads, let us remember that every stroke of design, every idea crafted, and every innovative project that emerges from this academy is a step toward a brighter future. A future where culture, creativity, and community intertwine to tell the unique story of Sierra Leone. Today, we not only herald the birth of a premier institution of design education, but also celebrate the creative spirit that resides in each of us. Thank you for joining us in this momentous occasion. May the Design Academy inspire, educate, and empower you as together we shape a future defined by innovation, pride, and limitless possibilities. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lee. We're excited that you came and support the Design Week Freetown 2025. Thank you so much. Over the course of the week, so many things will be unearthed, and we want to set the tone this afternoon. We have our first panel discussion this afternoon, and to moderate that session, I'd like to invite my very good friend. Let me tell you about her. She's the first that I know that started open events across Freetown. Now they now all the other first day don't born because of this one person in idea. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the founder of Food Fest Sierra Leone, Emily Fode. Come on now, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for her. Where is she? And so her brain is very big. I'll just stop there. Another round of applause, Emily, as she comes and moderates this session, and she will invite a panelist.
Thank you, Victor. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I will fight you. Thank you, Pastor David. Good afternoon. So I am very excited to be here for Joe because as a colleague and a friend, we call on each other last minute to do things. But that's the beauty of the ecosystem and the support that we have in our communities, where we know we can rely on each other and we can come up with creative ideas and have support regardless. And I'm very happy that we're all here today to support Joe and to witness the launching of the Academy. I am going to moderate a session, and I would call on my panelists to introduce themselves. But first, just a brief background on what the panel is going to, what we're going to discuss. The topic is building the creative workforce for the future. And our discussions here today will explore the strategies, trends, and innovations that can shape a thriving and future-ready creative workforce across sectors such as media, design, fashion, film, music, and digital content creation. So it's actually wide, but I hope that we would be able to do justice to the topic and that we would leave here today knowing that we learned something. So first, I would like to call on Mr. David Manley. Why are you so far back? You're all the way at the back. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call on the CEO of Philly Tech City, Mr. David Manley, to join us. And Vikma. So I learned during the Startup World Cup that Philly means Bly. Bly, Philly. So you can take any of the seats. Next, I'd like to call on, do I say Pastor David or do I say Colin? I'd like to call on David Colin Ogu to also join us, founder of Christex Foundation. And lastly, I'd like to, you say they watch me, because it should have been women supporting women first. Forgive me, ma. But lastly, I'd like to call on the very beautiful Madam Aissatou Harrison, who opened the first creative hub in Sierra Leone and is a pioneer for creative arts in Sierra Leone as well. Beautiful dress, by the way. Absolutely. Okay, now that we're all here, who wants to start a brief introduction about who you are, what you do, and what you think about the topic in general? Well, maybe since you came on last, maybe you want to start? Oh, it does became, okay.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Manley. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Fele Tech City. How many people have written a Fana? Fana, nobody knows how it's a Fana? Okay. Fele, not Philly. Philly means two, but Fele, that's Fana in Mende. What it alludes to is the fact that in this space, in this ecosystem, what we're trying to do is to bring all the supporting elements for the ecosystem to thrive, throw them in one place and see how we can bring the best out of it. So that's pretty much what it means. So again, I'm David Manley, the CEO of LA Tech City, and I'm sure we'll be delving into the topic pretty soon.
Yes, over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is David Colin Ogu, founder of Christex Foundation, and essentially we are here to empower you, the youth, in terms of how you can pursue a better life. Primarily, it was through technology, which is still our main aim, but the main precept is, again, just to empower the youth, how you can learn valuable skills that will enable you to make a better living and to actually earn money with the skills that you have. Technology was one of the primary factors just because that was my personal line of expertise, but especially with the way the world is moving, thinking of like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, in terms of the avenue that your creativity cannot just be something that is used for fun, to make people laugh, or just to showcase your ability. It can actually be an avenue for you to earn as well. So that's why we're also interested in the creative sector, but we have to look to people that actually have expertise in the creative sector, but we just see it as like a way for the youth to actually live a better life. So anywhere that that looks and we can provide a lending hand, that's what Christex Foundation is set out to do.
Thank you. Over to you, Madam Harrison.
Hi, I'm Isatu Harrison. As I look around the room, I see most faces here that have used the Creative Hub. Either they've used it to access resources, use it as a space for their events. Yes, so we came about as a hub. It's the first creative hub, innovative space for creatives, for young people like yourselves. It's a space where we want you to feel safe, a space where you learn how to monetize your skills, how to the business side of your skills. So it's a space where we provide resources, we provide support to creatives, young creatives like yourselves, to creative initiatives, creative entrepreneurs, creative businesses, and young people. You know, I am really happy that you are here. Like my colleagues there, they are on the tech side. We want to make sure that you understand how you can turn your skills, how you can make your skill into a business, how you can be valued. Yeah, because we know that the problems we have in Salone is that the creatives are not valued. We want you to be valued. We want you to walk into a room and people realize what you have, and you can put a price to your skills, to your creativity. So that's why the Creative Hub exists.
Okay, thank you. So we have a rich panel of business support, tech, and even policy, if I could say. First question I would like to throw to you, Madam Harrison, is it always comes up in conversations. Like, what do you think are the biggest challenges that creatives are facing in the Sierra Leone industry, from your experience?
Like I said, the first thing I think for me is the fact that the creatives do not know how to turn their skills into a business. They don't have the skills. So the training, the resources for them to be able to actually monetize their skills. You know, everybody wants to make money. It's when you're into other career path, it's easy for you to gain employment, even if it's a struggle, but you know, you would not struggle as much as the creative. You don't have any resources for creatives. So I think one of the problems in Salone for the creatives is even the space where, you know, they can meet, they can exchange ideas, they can see other creatives, because we don't, you know, culturally, when you're a creative, you're not valued, right? Growing up, our parents want us to be doctors, engineers, you know, architects, but you cannot be a musician, for example. You cannot just get up, you know, and tell your parents, I want to be an actor. So it's really how you put a value. One of the problems is how do you get people to believe in what you're doing? Turning that skill into a business, learning how to, you know, do. So you have a lot of creatives, but they're only doing it maybe for like a side gig. You have poets who have been reading poems forever. They'll go to, you know, places where they're just going to do poem and then that's it. So how do you turn those, you know, poetic skills into a business? How would you start charging people for what you do? Yeah. How do you possibly put those poems into maybe a series where people can be interested in either, you know, everything now is on here. You can start a podcast. So it's how do you, if you're a poet, so I use a poet because, you know, how do you use those skills as a poet to actually make business? What's you know, revenue streams can you get, you know, from being a poet, So it's just, I think it's providing all those resources. If you want to do podcasts now, where would you go? Where do you have access to like a studio where you can go, say as a poet, I can go to this space where I can go do, you know, start my series. Or if you are an artist, you know, a visual artist, you need the space, you need the training, you need to be able to learn from other people. So I think most of those are the problems for me that I, you know, just being at the Creative Hub, some of the problems that I get from all these young people that come across, you know, is the training, the resources, so that people can believe in your act.
Thank you. So when you kept mentioning poets, I was looking at my fellow poets over there. Yeah, we're probably taking breaks, but yes. Because one of the few people that we know that have monetized poetry, Adeola is one person, and Joseph Abdullahi, because they've found avenues to also find ways to monetize. And we see how access to market was a thing, and even the adoption, the market adoption to what they have to offer, it was also a thing. But before we move on to the next one, I just want to ask if you also like want to butt in on the first question.
Yes. So I agree with you about the access. From this side of the room, what I will say is more so the major challenge is the informality of that sector. Government is very good at making policies, at making regulations for things that they can see and things they feel fit a structure. For example, when I was 7, I wanted to be a pilot. there was a path towards it. There was no piloting school in Sierra Leone, but I knew if I had gone through the sciences, I would have ultimately gotten my initial degree before I would have traveled out of the country. But there's a formal system to get to where I wanted to be. If I wanted to be a poet, there was no such thing to tell me like, how would you be a commercial poet? So when you are a lawyer or a doctor, you know what support system the government can give. You know how you can access the resources, because we're good at regulating things that we can see and that are formalized. But industries, sectors that are part of the informal sector, it's only now that we're trying to say, oh, that market woman, we sit down in our markets a whole life, have a week go by and then sell all day, can house cook. That woman is part of the economy, just an informal part of the economy, and now we're trying to provide support services and regulate that space. But the government in the past, we're really, really good at regulating things that we can see and that have an actual formalized pathway. And the creative industry for a long time was not a part of that identified. Now what the government sees is that the creative industry can provide money into the economy. And all of a sudden, we're trying to regulate that sector because we want to see how much taxes we can gain. But that's what government does. So I think that was the initial challenge, the fact that because it wasn't formalized, government couldn't regulate it, and that meant that people were not putting some focus on formalizing it, regulating it, providing support services for it, and actually just creating the awareness that this was a viable career pathway.
I'll actually take the completely different side of this argument to say there aren't really any challenges, because you can always start from where you are. Because I think there's always a tendency of, it's like you see people online that have made it and you want to instantly replicate what they have, but you don't understand how they started. So for example, you might see like MKBHD, Marcus Brownlee, like his visuals, amazing. The storytelling is amazing. Everything is great. And then from day one, you want to be like MKBHD. You have to be like how he started. Fortunately, he still left it up on his YouTube. You can see his first video that he took on his phone and just recorded himself doing some review. I can't even remember what the review was. So it's like the challenge to everyone is, yes, there might be an issue with access to resources. Yes, there might be an issue to having the right space to do a podcast. But what do you have now? How are you utilizing the tools that you have now, the knowledge that you have now to do something now, rather than be like, oh, well, I don't have this. You can always have an excuse of why you haven't started something, but there is still enough that you have to begin. Let's say the minimum you need: phone with a decent enough camera and internet. Yeah. You say you don't have a phone, go borrow one. Maybe your mom has one, your dad has one. Record yourself, put it up on YouTube, put it up on Snapchat, like begin that journey rather than looking at the roadblocks that exist, because they do exist. But the point is you can actually start from where you are now.
So there's a follow-up question from all of the answers, sort of. And part of it has to do with formalization, because there's the thing about data, and I stand to be corrected, even though I'm sitting, but is there data around the creative industry in Sierra Leone? Because there was a meeting we actually attended, and I think it was a part of World Bank. They were trying to have some insights on the creatives, and they kept mentioning that those numbers. So then, who's capturing data? What data are we using to know what has been working for the creative industry? Because again, the creative industry is big. It's not just someone who has a phone and stands in front of the mirror and does TikTok and all of that. It's actually very big, and you have people that have been cashing out from it and they're comfortable with where they've been cashing out, and you have people who want to now incorporate technology to it and all of that. So it even comes in segments, sort of. So then what data are we looking back at, and how then, if we want to now formalize and have a unified body for the creative industry in Sierra Leone, how then do we envision all of this happening?
So what we have done in the ministry is not to focus on the creative industry, it's the digital economy. So what we are doing is there's an already existing study. It's the feasibility for the gig economy, because so what we want to do as a government is for the young people to be able to tap into the digital economy. For you to tap into the digital economy, you have to have what your competitive advantage is. All these African countries right now are trying to tap into the digital economy, but Sierra Leone has to identify what its competitive advantages. What Sierra Leone is known for globally is the fact that we are very creative. There's no African country that has a niche on the creative industry for the digital economy. That's something we feel like we should be taking full advantage of. So what we are doing right now is to try to figure out what the data is, to find out what the data is that would either support or dissuade us from moving in that direction. Because if we are going to train a mass amount of young people to tap into the digital economy, and we decide that we're going to train them in the creative industry, there has to be a market for it, there has to be a profitability margin. That's what we look at in terms of the government. So the data that we're actually trying to mine right now is how, or what's the most economically viable digital economy job there is. We think it's the creative industry, but we don't know until we actually figure out what the data is. So from the government side, we are trying to get the data that would drive us in the direction that we need to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the data is important, I think, for us in terms of like the creative hubs, and less so for the actual creative. What I mean by that is, let's say we have finite resources. I say let's say, like we don't. We have finite resources, and let's say we have to decide, okay, are we going to build a podcasting studio, or are we going to build a film studio, or are we going to do a, I don't know, audio for music producers? That is where the data is relevant for us to know, okay, which one is the sector that looks like it can take off. So let's invest in that so that the people have the right tools to compete. Then when the money comes in, we can use it to sponsor the other sectors. I think it's useful from that angle. But for the creative, you don't need to wait for data. It's like you're not trying to put out work that can get money. Because let's say you find out that, okay, it is the music industry that is top notch. So then you are a photographer. Now you're going to go into music, because it's like, so the data is not really, I don't think is really relevant in that line, because you have your own skill that you have identified, you have nurtured. Believe it or not, somebody is willing to pay for that skill that you have. You just have to go reach out to them. You just have to find them or make them aware of what you have. The buyer will naturally come in. You don't, like, I think it's even contrary to what creativity is. If you're trying to shape it to what somebody wants, you're now actually limiting your creativity. So I think the data is relevant for us that are trying to create or set the infrastructure. For the creative, be creative. Do whatever comes to your mind and you go sell that. And then, yeah, whoever's willing to buy will buy, but the data might be relevant for the World Bank to figure out, okay, where we're going to deploy $2 million. But yeah, but for the creative, again, don't put unnecessary there's enough stumbling blocks. Don't add the new one to say, well, I don't have the data. which platform should I post on? Is it Snapchat? Is it everything? Use your data, post it, and then whichever one works. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
But it's probably helpful for the photographer or to know how many musicians, are there so that they can begin to target them for their music videos and all of that, right? So to answer your question, I don't think we have data even as the hubs. However, now the meeting you went to at the World Bank, it's part of a feasibility study that the World Bank is doing right now. As David said, there's a lot of interest in the sector, but we want first of all to understand which of the disciplines it would impact the economy more, to speak to David's point. So the World Bank is doing a lot of work and has spent a lot of money in terms of like the feasibility study. We're also now carrying a pilot program that is Creatify. We put that out about 6 weeks ago. That program just started and it's just focusing on women. So that's part of all the, collecting some data, some facts, and then we'll have like the final. I think they've completed the feasibility study now. We should have that report very soon, but the pilot program would finish in July. The other thing we're doing as creatives, because I think we all have to make an effort. We had a meeting sometime last year, around June, that we're trying as a creative sector, we come back to, we want people to take us seriously. We have to work together. This data here, data there, if we're not together, if we're not willing to come together to be able to collect that data, we're wasting each other's time. So we've created, from that meeting last year, we now have a group called Creative SL, which I encourage every young person in here, share that. I think I would, in fact, just ask Chooks, do you have a screen? Yes. We can share the QR code for you to join that group. So that's part of collecting the data for us to understand the creatives. And we are also organizing the first creative sector meeting. We will put that out very, very soon. We'll confirm the date and put that out very soon. But what we want to do is, again, towards this, just understanding who is in the sector, how many groups of musicians, because you have music groups, different music groups. You have artists, you have, visual artists, you have, now I know about 4 visual artist groups, so how many people are in those different groups? I think when we're able to come together, I encourage you, come to the meeting, encourage other people to join this group so that we can all, as people in the sector, join together to collect this data, this all important data that we need, because it would help us all. Yeah?
Wow, thank you.
Emily.
Yes, please.
I just want to say, because this has come up already multiple times, Colin, Pastor David, and Mr. Harrison have both mentioned it, the podcast. And that's where the private sector contribution, in furtherance of what you were trying to say. I know someone, this is not an endorsement from Philly Tech City, but there's someone who has a podcasting station, Antonia. She built a whole hub that has different podcasting stations that you can go rent and do your podcast. She didn't wait to figure out what the data was. She went ahead and built, that's her business. So that's where private sector comes in as well.
Wow, amazing. So meetings like these help us to get information as well, and it's very important. So talking about how growing up, creatives were looked down upon. It was more of a hobby. If you have the skills, it was seen as a hobby as opposed to something you could actually monetize. And I could safely compare it with entrepreneurship to some extent, because even the poet said that where she's from, if education does not work, business works. And so it's like an alternative. If I don't become a lawyer or a doctor, I'll just fall back on this sort of thing. And so that's the perception, that's the mindset that everybody or the general populace grew up with. And so placing respect on creatives or even entrepreneurship or, all of these things, it's like we have to do with branding of the mindset. And so in that light, how can education systems and training programs better prepare young people for careers in creative industries? I mean, anybody can take it.
The creative industry is very, very vast. I mean, I'm a poet. I always identify as a poet. I didn't write my first poem until I was 26, 27. That's the time I wrote my very first poem. When we did the spoken word event in 2010, the people who performed, Francis Benkaifala, Usman Timbo, David Senge, these people had never written poems before until that day when they performed. But at the same time, we have animators who need to be trained to be able to do their work. You have UI, UX designers, you have graphic designers. They may be self-taught, but they need some form of training to do their work. So as much as it's not one size fits all, that's where it's incumbent on all of us to see how we can support whatever that's needed. Some people, they just need the space, as Ms. Harrison has CHA. They just need that space where they can go every month and perform their poem. I know a very, very good poet who's homeless. He writes his poems at the graveyard. But that's his best time that he has when he goes to CHA, because that's the time he would have memorized all his pieces. He would be up there. He'll just flow. He just needs that outlet. That's not the same resource requirement that someone who wants to do an animation will do. So as much as we focus in building the infrastructure, that's where FLA is trying to do, building the infrastructure that will enable that capacity building for studios, for training, for access to the digital economy. But then there's also other people who all they need is CHA space, because that's where they're going to practice their skill. That's where people will see them and say, okay, I get this event today, I can't perform for me. Now 2,000, 3,000 by the gear. That's more than they see in a very, very long time.
Yeah, so it's an interesting question. And I'll say actually the education works in two ways. Like, one, to go off the statement that you made in terms of, I can't remember if you said it was your mom that said, or if education doesn't work.
It was the poets.
Oh, the poets, okay. But it's a, not stigma, but it's like a mentality that exists. Yeah. So there might even be creatives today that are creatives due to that mentality. Education hasn't worked, so they thought, okay, well, let me go down the creative route. Yeah. So the education can be helpful for them to know that it is actually not like a fallback. It's actually something that you can create a career out of, and you can actually hone your craft. Because I think that is where, I think like in Sierra Leone, we are lacking, or we, I don't know who the we are, we may be the we, where we're failing the creative sector, where people have talent. Oh, as for talent in Sierra Leone, hands down, there, beaucoup, plenty one. But often that talent is not refined, and there is no mechanism or no education to refine the talent. So people just go through their careers, as it were, just with raw talent. And it's like you'll get to a point where you'll begin to struggle, at least from a global perspective, because yes, you have the talent, but you haven't refined your craft. Outside of education, it's just going to be talent purely. But there's somebody outside that has mixed that talent with refinement of their craft. There's no way you're going to compete, because talent is not, it's not only you that has talent. We say people in Sierra Leone have talent. You go find a Gambian speaking about Gambia, they'll say there's talent in Gambia. So there's talent everywhere. So you have to compete on more than just talent. And I think that's where the education comes in, so that you can refine your craft. Because there might be some like easy mistakes that you're making, that if you just had the formal training to enhance your talents, you can now compete on a global level. So I think that's where education can have a play to, one, change the mindset of the actual creative to know that it is not a fallback, and two, to refine their craft so that they can actually compete outside of Sierra Leone.
Just listening, we talk about creatives, and I don't want to single out, say, just creatives, right? Because what do you define creativity, or how do you define the creative person, right? I believe that every person, everyone, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're a business person, you say you're an entrepreneur, you have to be creative to start a business, right? So for me, I look at every person that comes through CHA, whether you're a creative, you're just a business, I know that there's creativity somewhere inside there. And what you need is how you harness that creativity, is how you refine that creativity. So that's where the education comes in, right? Because everything that you want to do, I know we have the tagline creatives, and there's that thing where, you know, you're creative and you're walking around with, you know, whether it's your
flamboyancy.
You know what I mean? Like, you want to be seen, I'm a creative. Even the ones who are not showcasing their creativity, there's creativity in them. And so the idea of refining that, you know, helping them to see that, to see the value in that, that's where the education comes in. That's where you need more centers like what we have now, you know, the Creative Hub, or places where, apart from the classroom, that they can go to refine that that creativity, or a space where they can just go, like this guy, that the poet that writes, you know, at the graveside, that they can go there. But even that, when they go to a space like that, they probably see somebody else that performs that they would learn something from to kind of better, you know, their act. So going to even you know, having performance stages like that helps them. Having just somewhere where, you know, networking, you know, would help them. And so it's about being intentional. You know, for me, I think the education counts, but you need to be intentional about being willing, not just to learn, to refine, to better yourself, to better your act, because without that, you'll just be mediocre and be doing things just as, you know, as Pastor says. I'll join you to call him Pastor. Making money, you need to be able to not just go, you know, we do something that we call Tryout Tuesdays, and that is not just for the creatives, because like I say, I believe that everybody has some creativity in them. So Tryout Tuesday gives you an opportunity to come to the hub and try out a career in creativity, right? The person that we're employing right now, a graphic designer, came to CHA the first time to do Tryout Tuesday as a graphic designer. And one of the people that was, that in fact, our tutor for that was James, did Tryout Tuesday. So we just meet, you know, experts in their field, and we invite them. They come in, we don't have funds for it. Just talking to them and say, please, James, do a favor, come down. We have, like, you know, put a call out. We have about 10, 15 young people that want to come and try out graphic design. And that's how they came. And the next time we had like a week. Again, with James, maybe all I did was just a small envelope and say, James, you know, these young people want to learn. Now he is a graphic designer. He works at CHA. He is on salary. You know, so just out of Tryout Tuesday. So it's about you being intentional as well. The resources will be there, like, you know, resources will be there, the opportunities will be there, but you have to be intentional, want to be, you know, refined or learn something. Yeah?
Okay, so rounding up this discussion, I would just want to know what next steps are. Like, what do you think next steps are as as a general body, next steps in your own specific roles or your specific institutions, what do you think next steps are moving forward?
Well, as a representative of the government, I feel like I have mine is easy because we have write-offs about what it is that we want to do anyway. Whether we end up doing it, it's for the general public to judge. But for me, and my role, and as a representative of the government, what our next step is, and we've been deliberate about this from day one in 2018, we need to capacitate every young person to be the best person that they can be. And that's what we've been trying to do. It's about building the capacity, building the infrastructure, creating the enabling environment. So those are the things that we're doing in the next step. We will continue to support the young people and give them the resources that they need to be the best version of themselves.
Wow. So this is the part that I wish the Creole be Tranga Namimot. So I can say it in Creole, but I'll say it in my strongest English, that the next step is actually not for us. And I'm even going to preempt and throw some of the answer to Madam Aissatou as well, that the next step is not for us. We don't actually have anything to do. The next step is you have to take it. Creative Hub Africa already exists. The building is there. I've never been in. So I'm going to force myself as an invite. But the place is there. So you're complaining that you don't have resources. You're complaining that you don't have access. Really and truly, you do. So you has to take the next step, wake up, and actually, one, just do some fact finding in what exists in Sierra Leone. Then you can find that Creative Hub exists. You can find out, like, it's a rhetorical question to ask you how many of you knew about the Tryout Tuesdays. The fact that you don't know, it's your problem. It means that you have had the opportunity for the last months, years, weeks. I don't know how long it's going on for, so I just have to give a range. That you have a year, thank you, you've had 1 year to try out different career paths, and you haven't. And you've been sitting at home telling your parents that, Mama Tintranga, or nothing, no day, job, no day, opportunity, no day. But it actually already exists. So the next step is for you to really wake up, take your own life seriously. Because these things that we are doing, to a large extent, is not for ourselves. It's just to fix the problem that you said you had. You said that there was no hub. Madam Aissatou has created a hub. Now, what further excuse do you have? So the next step, to be honest, we don't need to do anything. Our hubs are done, it's finished. You now need to go and utilize, maximize, and make the most of what already exists. So today, before Madam Aissatou leaves, find out where Creative Hub Africa is. The tryout Thursday? Tuesday. Figure out what day of the week Tuesday is, so that you know. And then you go and you try out on that Tuesday. So the next step is literally for you to take the next step and actually just make most of the current resources that exist, because then it would inform us what further direction we need to support you in. But if we lay the infrastructure, put the foundation, and you don't use it, it's like, what more can we do? So you really have to wake up, take your life seriously, take the opportunity seriously, and maximize what already exists. Don't throw the buck or the ball back at us to say, well, you guys have to do more. You have to buy me a camera. You have to buy me audio. No, use what you have and then do something so it can also encourage us to take that one step further.
I don't even know what to add to that, because he has summarized that perfectly. Next step is you. Yep. You know, make use of the opportunities that are out there. Research, ask for help. There's so much help. I always say there's so much help out there, but what we're good at is asking for the things we don't need.
Yep.
The things that do not create any impact in our lives. The things that are just short term. You're probably going to chase me to give you 1,500 here. ask me for an opportunity where I can link you up to a resource center. Come to me if you are a poet and you want to use a podcast place like Antonia has. Come to me and say, this is what I want to do. Even if we don't have money at CHA, it's not like we have the finances sitting there. We're looking for it yet. We don't have it yet. We get small. But I have supported a handful of creatives that come, and I see that they're really passionate about what they want to do. They are really intentional. I have supported them from my own personal money, my pocket money. Yeah. So ask for the things that will change your life. Ask for the things that are not short-term impact. It is not just for you to pay transport, or like I go eat lunch, or go buy, go take one picking for date, or you know what I mean? Yes. It is not just for you to go do some swag.
Yes.
Yeah. Do something. If you're serious about what you want to do, the next step is you. So that's on to you, right? The Tryout Tuesday, now we work with Balanta, like you're saying. We put out a call for photographers. Balanta has a course now for photography and videography. We needed like 25 people. We had over 200 people apply.
Wow.
And you have places now that you can be signposted to better whatever the act is. So we're looking for more partners like that. When we do Tryout Tuesday, it's not just Tryout Tuesday just for you to come. We also are trying to see where the need is, where people, where the interest is, and then look for places or resources that we can now use to be able to help you, right? On the government side, so that's for you. I think he summarized that really well. But from the government side, my good friend and my person just spoke about formalization. I am frustrated. Like, I cannot tell you my frustration. So please take it back to your office, your people, have words. It's frustrating. Next steps for me in terms of formalization is really what I know the World Bank has been working on. SLEDEP, the project that I'm part of, has been working on, is having that one-stop shop. It's having that system where, as a small business, you would cut out the middleman to register yourself for you to be formal. Is 240 leones. But I promise you, it is not 240 leones it would cost you, right? It will cost you over 2,000. And that's just one side, corporate affairs. Now you have to be registered with City Council. That's another 2,000. It doesn't matter what business you are. So two things for me is just let us work on cutting out all the middlemen. Be able to sit in the comfort of your home, of your space, of the hub, of where you're going to get help, to register yourself. Begin to register yourself as a formal business so that you don't have to pay more than 240 leones, because I am dealing with all these young people, and then it will come back to me. Most of them that we register, that money comes out of my pocket. I'm not a bank. I'm not a charity. We don't have the money yet. We're looking for the resources, but it'll be helpful. And also the taxes, let us be, like we were talking about, understanding what a small business is, a startup is. Let us have something that separates all these, the categories, because that way these young people will be probably willing to go pay 240 register, and then if they have one or two people that are helping them, they have a class where what it would cost them to pay, to operate a business is different. They'll be willing to contribute to the taxes that you're talking about. That system that you want, for us to be able to build that creative economy. But there are so many, loopholes that we need, roadblocks that we need to work at. So that's all from my side to government. Thank you.
If I can just add, I know we're quite short on time, but I think maybe there is one thing that we can do is, one, work better as the hubs. Because, for example, like, let's say I didn't know about Tryout Tuesday. So, like, if I did, a bunch of the students that come through, we could have just routed them. So I think we have to get better in Sierra Leone, like working together. And I think we just have to be intentional about that. So I'm going to come see you next week, Monday or Tuesday, whether you have time or not. I'm just going to come to your office to just be.
I was going to get in touch. You would have to. I mean, whether you were planning it again.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, we know. The other thing is, we work in isolation.
Yep.
We're not talking to each other. There are lots of different creatives, kind of organizations, popping up. So we are having a meeting in June, I think probably first week June. And that's, I'm working with the German embassy, their German ambassador's wife, to be able to organize like the leaders in all of these creative businesses. So if you're leading on a creative initiative, it's a hub, we would like to sit and just, compare notes and then, be able to communicate some of these opportunities. Again, we have a lot of programs now overlapping. I mean, in the last probably 2 months, you just see one creative thing there, one there. It'd be good for us to talk so that they don't overlap and we're able to support each other's programs or events. It's really important. So we're having that meeting first week of June, and I'll let you know.
Awesome. And then since Mr. Mandy is a friend, I can say this publicly. I think what we have to do before the meeting, this thing ends, let's take him to a room, beat him, and then send that as a message to government that we have some issues and your representative is here to share the issues. But on a more serious note, I think to a certain extent we have to be like I'll have to phrase it delicately, but actually be the middleman for the creative people in terms of if you have attempted to go to register and they're giving you issues, come to us. We may have a bit more of a voice and we will go there and ensure it gets done for you. So I think we need to be intentional in removing those obvious roadblocks where we actually can. Yeah. And I'll stop talking now. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on this panel. Thank you for your time. These are valuable insights. We've talked around education. We've touched on why is Jukes looking like that? But we were talking about something that had middlemen involved. So when you were giving your closing statement, I remembered OneGov. So OneGov is about to come on, and we're hoping that it would solve a lot of these issues. But thank you so much. And thank you to the audience. But before, can I take like a call? I don't know if anyone has something that they might want to say. Anyone taking notes? Okay, Hamid.
Good afternoon once more. Yes, I have so many questions, but first of all, thank you all for being here. Thank you for sharing your insights, your contributions, and then telling us what your various institutions have been doing to supporting our very own little hand-to-mouth economy. Sorry to the creatives and artists here. So one thing, I mentioned hand-to-mouth because yes, we already know, and I think we've flatlined that, we've laid it out that the creative economy is still dilly-dallying around that. Yeah. There are no formal structures. But now, I'm glad we have someone from the government here that I want to direct a question, yeah? We all know artificial intelligence. Actually, I'm quite surprised nobody mentioned artificial intelligence up there. We have people from the creative and the tech sector. But yes, it's good that we are all here. That's one place our two worlds collide, artificial and creativity. I mean, technology and creativity. So I want to ask Mr. Manley, and also it's open to you all, what policies are your institutions implementing to safeguard local content, particularly in light of the growing influence of artificial intelligence? I'm asking this because just recently I've noticed how, we all use artificial intelligence to help us. I don't have a personal assistant, so I have ChatGPT to organize my task and help me edit some parts of my day. But also I've seen recently how various corporations in Salone are using artificial intelligence for their advertisement. We're seeing how they're doing it online and on billboards. It's all over. Every day I leave my house to go to the gym in the morning. There's one at Regent, not to point anyway, but there's like throughout from the Regent to Wilberforce, and you leave Wilberforce to Lumley. It's there. You see all these happy faces, but they are not Sierra Leoneans. And it's good that we're here talking about heritage, we're talking about design, we're talking about creativity. How are we going to protect local content? Because I believe if we allow these corporations and people to use these modes of advertisement, it kills people that are still in that hand-to-mouth economy. It kills us, the creators, the photographers, the models, the designers. Because yes, artificial intelligence, AI is a powerful tool. We all want to see where it goes, but now we want to see how it can empower us, but is it going to be that thing that is going to replace us? Thank you.
Thank you for that. We're having a conversation that's tangentially related to that. We were talking about when you do a business process mapping of the public sector and you try to make it more efficient, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Not for the AI side, but just simple taking a form from one room to the next, and the amount of people that have touched that form that expect to be paid. When you reduce that process and make it more efficient, people will lose jobs. People are going to lose their jobs with AI. That's why we need to create the jobs that people will be able to tap into with AI. These AI models that exist, they're always going to exist, because to create models, to train AI, to build these models, we don't have a lot of Africans, we don't have a lot of Sierra Leoneans who are modeling, because it requires a lot for us to build those models. So until, and that's where we're trying to create the investments that will be able to build our models, because you're more attuned to models that look like you, models that relate to you. And it's just an equity issue that if we are going to be exploiting this technology, we have to contribute to building it. So there's that part of the model. What we do, or what the government is doing in terms of policy, one is to diversify the economy, to make sure we train people to be able to exploit AI and AI-related technologies. That's one. But then in terms of protecting local content, OARG recently created an IP regulation. We had an IP law, but now we just created an IP regulation that protects intellectual property, protects your patents. We can't mandate that any agency or any private sector has to go to a Sierra Leonean graphic designer to build or to design what they want to do. What we can do is to make sure that, one, we train Sierra Leonean graphic designers to tap into that market, and two, we make sure that we create incentives for the industry to be able to employ our own. And then it's up to the public to make sure that, everyone would prefer to see Sierra Leonean models on billboards than they will see people they can't relate to. But until we create the infrastructure for us to be able to have those, then we're leaving ourselves open to losing out on that economy. That's why AI, we can't stay behind on AI. We have to be at the upfront of it, because if not, these are the kinds of things that we'll constantly run into. So as much as the government is doing this IP regulation, has done this IP regulation, as much as the Ministry of Communication, Technology and Innovation is developing the Startup Act, as much as the Ministry of Communication is doing a national AI strategy, these are all things that we're trying to do to impact that space. But as it is right now, we cannot mandate agencies. We just have to create opportunities within that space for Sierra Leoneans and incentivize the private sector that may want to tap into that market. I know it's a long-winded response, but that's what we're doing in terms of policy and regulatory environment for the protection of the local ecosystem.
Do we have 1 minute?
Yes, we can do 1 minute.
Okay. Right. So, Amit? Is it Amit? Right. Back to what Pastor was saying, start where you are. So whilst we're waiting for government to kind of work on the policy, I'll give you an example of something. The new managing, I think it's the commercial manager or marketing manager for Capital Foods, came to see me about 2 weeks ago. He's doing the rounds, like just meeting different people. And he said something to me that I think probably benefit from. It says they had a lot of adverts, whether commercial and all of these things, that he was sitting in his office and looking at all of the different things they've been doing, and everybody's talking, oh, let's do this, let's do this. Then a young person sent in an idea, an advert that was local, targeted to like local. And when he looked at that, he really liked that idea. Yeah? And so he's going to run with that, or he's already running with that. Now, you've been driving past and seeing all these billboards. What I want you to do is look for whoever owns those billboards. The information will be on the billboards, right? You don't like what you see. Put something together, put a concept together that you feel would sell the culture, would sell Salone, so you can replace all those artificial intelligence photographs that you're seeing. And I am not saying put one concept, go just to one person. If you've seen that, they are going to be repeatedly doing it, because maybe as a business person, it's cheaper for them to do that. There's no reason. You understand? They don't have a reason for them to do that. So do that. Approach the institutions. First, start with the ones that you've seen on the billboards that are using the content that you don't like. Sell your ideas to them. The first person might not buy it, but if you try a few of them and identify organizations that you think would buy into this, your idea of selling the culture, selling Sierra Leone, do that, and I promise you come back to me and say thank you. Yeah?
Yeah, because I like that answer, because I was going to challenge the premise of your question, because the fact that there's a billboard with an AI-generated image is no issue. And there's nothing that the government can do to mandate to say, oh, there has to be a photograph of somebody that looks Sierra Leonean, or a Sierra Leonean artist has to be involved. So to that, or there's two parts to this. One, it's because I know what you do. So in your case, it's an opportunity is there to, let's say it was Orange that had the advert. I don't know who, so I just picked a random name. You would take that, modify it in the way that you think it should be, and you go to Orange and be like, look, this is how it should be. Yeah. This speaks better to the local context. This would actually generate more people to buy into your brand, and this is what you should do. So that's one, because what the company did is not wrong. No. The second part of this, where the government does have to do something, is around the intellectual property. Because if you don't have protection, maybe they could have, because I know what you're talking about, because I saw you tweet about it. Yeah, it's they could have gone to your page, taken one of your photos and put it on their poster, and there's nothing you can do. So now that is where you need protection. You don't need protection from AI. You need protection of your work, so that if your work gets used, you can be adequately compensated for it. And that is the only thing that the government can do, because it's not a private entity that's going to roll out those protections. So yeah, your issue should not be with AI. Your issue should be with hey, I am sitting here unprotected, that if, even as what the government wants to do, let's say incentivize people to create our own LLMs, which I don't think is necessarily the best approach, how are they going to create our own LLMs? It means that what they're actually saying, you have to close your ears for this part, is they're going to take your data, take your picture, train their new LLM with your picture without your consent and without your compensation. That's what you should be concerned about. And that's where, again, they are the ones that can come and help you. But you shouldn't be scared of AI. Because, again, the way I see it is companies actually want, like, the best return. So if they know they can pay you to get your image and now the advert is going to do better, I'm telling you, only a foolish company will turn it down because they want to make more money. If they have to spend money to make money, they would easily do it. So you just have to show that, no, my work is actually better and can actually generate the returns that you think you're going to get. So that's the role that you have to play. And then the government just has to make sure that the IP thing comes before they decide to train their LLMs. But don't worry, I'll fight that battle for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to the panelists. Thank you to the listeners. I'm guessing it was a good session, yes?
Oh, yes.
Yes? Yeah, see, that is what you do when you enjoyed a good session. Thank you so much. Please continue clapping until we come down. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Emily and David. The two Davids. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate the sessions. Awesome. So I'll give David some time while to do the official launch. I'd like to invite Juliana to just give us some poetry performance as we give David some time to rest. So, Juliana, you have the floor.
Hello. So, this one says, Mama Fatu, you get akara? Oda thief milk 5 gallon. Thief. Stationed in an environment of different people and different tribes. You can call us the tribe of Judah. The baddest in the yard. The best comes out of it even if it feels. You know the left for peace na my window? That's the gangster crew. In the day, they roll their Rizlas. They anger na net for jug people and bag. Sam, Mami Saleh say anybody taking bucket in Mama go bury am. When the moon is out, we don't sleep early because of the night games. We play torch, balance ball, hide and seek. You see their beauties at night as they walk past our sight. Touch one, you touch all. Some made themselves thugs. Their misunderstanding is settled with hogs. Where I come from, we raise kings and not urns. We train ourselves to have thick skins because we know what's ahead. Now me don't forget, you can't meet me. Until now they vet, make me they get. All you know dog hide on blood. Face to face houses we rep. During raining season, everyone is alert. Sleep no, now water will carry you go. On your mark, let's go. Bail the water into Ram Nado. Where I come from, we smile at the storm. Buzzing go make rain enter na you house. Us we believe in self, na in the left in the mouth open and net. Now God where they preserve some of we. If not, now Motaman self will make we go rest. Now white teeth black hats make some of we get blackout. Them say study to show yourself approve, but some still fail. God are not ever put good smell. Now so dirty food self out for it. But angry man no get choice. Give us our daily bread. But bread self we God they give we. Them don't pull them now mouth. As we forgive those who trespass against us. But Boku no can forgive oh. Now that's make graveyard flop. Now money where you go save. Now so you take and go waste on a club. Money time reach now you begin yawn. But remember say, time wait for no man. Thank you.
David Malin, she's a poet. So I think that's a better connection for you guys this afternoon. And I'm sure she'll be happy if you can give her the platform to perform at I think there's the Tech Summit. I think she'll be happy to do it. Is that a yes? All right, I'm sure you guys will connect. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to officially launch the Design Week Freetown. I'd like to call on Pastor Ogu. Yes, to do us the honor. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for David Ogu to do us the official launch of the Design Week.
I think just before that, Joe, who is actually the chief architect, the brains, the man behind all of this, is going to give like a quick explanation of what the design week is. Then I'll just do my small little part.
So so it's basically just the launch of the academy, which is Design Academy Sierra Leone, and just for the play of words, call it Dazzle, okay? And the idea behind that is to have like a central point for things. So I don't know if I'm standing, but it's to have central points for events, activities, initiatives such as Design Week Freetown. It's to be able to give the young people a platform and a channel through which conversations like the one we just had can now not just be conversations, but they can actually have action steps that are followed up on. So that's the academy, and I think one of our speakers mentioned having, we need to capacitate ourselves, and that is also one of the reasons why we're launching the academy. So just a brief overview of what it would be. We have Pastor, who would be one of our board members, so which is why he's better placed to actually just complete the launch of it. Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you for that. By the way, there's no ribbon to cut, no big scissors, so it's just me just going to say it's officially launched, and then you all clap, shout your loudest. Like, I literally want the roof to lift up, come back down in the same place, so we don't have to pay damages. But once I say it's officially launched, you shout and you scream, you go wild, okay? Okay. Should we practice it, or we can just do it one go? Okay, I believe in you guys. So yeah, I just want to say, as one of the board members, it actually is an honor to launch such an initiative. Because really and truly, again, everything that we're trying to do is designed for the betterment of you, the individual, to create these, the spaces and almost like be resources ourselves, so that you can be the person that you want to be. Because there are many dreams that get cut short, not because the person is not willing, not because the person doesn't have the talent, but just perchance, as it happens, that you were born in this part of the world, where, like, I'm pretty sure most of you, I can't say all of you just for the mathematics to work out, but most of you, if you had grown up in a different part of the world, where you had access to these resources and the right infrastructure, you would have blown by now. You'd have, like our sister, who is actually genuinely quite good. So it's like, if she had the avenue, she will be recognized beyond the region that she finds herself in. But just because born in Sierra Leone at such a time like this, there's certain challenges. So sister, you have talent, you can make it globally, but that's why these kind of initiatives and this academy is trying to give you the footing and like the boost that you need to not be encumbered by the environment that you find yourself in, but to really make your light shine so that people around the world can recognize you for your craft. So after saying all of that, I just want to officially launch Dazzle the Design Academy. Oh, you can do better than that. Okay, see, I knew we should have practiced it. Because this speech, it was off the cuff, it wasn't ChatGPT. So please, you can do it better. Officially launching the Dazzle Academy in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Make some noise! I was about to say hallelujah and I realized that I'm not in church, so thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise! Amazing, 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 amazing. All right, so we're closing down the curtains, and I'd like to call on Bintu from Nest to give us the vote of thanks. Do you, this particular person will be around, as he give you the vote of thanks? Because it's a shame, but today I pull the shame panel. So let's just give her a round of applause for boosting confidence as he give us the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. As we wrap this exciting first day of Design Week Freetown, I want to say a big thank you on behalf of the entire team. Today has been filled with inspiration from the launch of Design Week to the powerful panel on building the creative force for the future, and of course, a beautiful performance by Juliana the poet. Thank you, Juliana, for closing our day with such depth and emotion. Our sincere thanks to our panelists, David Ogu, Colin Ogu, Aisatu Harrison, and David Manley, and our moderator, Emily Fande, for speaking such thoughtful conversations. We are incredibly grateful to our sponsors and partners, the Ministry of Communication, Technology and Information and Innovation, Ministry of Tourism, International Trade Center, ICT, Capital Foods, Bakutok TV, Rise Radio, the Christex Foundation, Food Fest, QCell, and Live. To our dedicated volunteers, thank you for holding everything together behind the scenes. And to our audience, thank you for showing up, engaging, and bringing your energy. This is the beginning. We look forward to seeing you throughout the week. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we can now network, meet people, and get to know people. And I'd like to say thank you. See you tomorrow and the days to come. Thank you very much. I've been your MC this afternoon. My name is Vikma. Thank you very much. Pleasant evening.